session. Today is July 8th and it's 4 p.m. And please call the roll.
Chairperson Wani Garza,
Here.
Vice Chair Ted Masiacos,
Present.
Alderman John Lash,
Here.
Alderman Emmanuel Llamas, Alderman Brandon Tolliver,
Here.
4 present.
Okay. Approval of the minutes for item 24-0488 from June 24.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman John Lash.
Second.
Second, Alderman Ted Masiacos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0. We have public comments.
No, we do not.
Okay, can you please read the first item in the agenda?
Item 24-0080, a resolution authorizing the use of Cipher Technology Solutions as the city's primary low-voltage cabling vendor in total aggregate amount not to exceed $100,000.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Garza, members of the committee, Jeff Anderson, Deputy CIO. This is the second year we brought this forward as a resolution like this for Cipher Technologies to perform mostly repairs, but some one-off sort of cabling. When we need a printer in a location or those kinds of things, we'll have them do it as opposed to just working through the PO process. Is a little more open and transparent about it. We have generally it's repairs. We have and a lot of times it's stuff that's outside that needs to be repaired. Okay.
For how long?
This is for the rest of the year.
For
Yeah.
the rest of this year?
Rest of this year, right?
Okay.
Right.
Questions, comments?
This time around, just to be clear, this time around we did work with legal and we got we have an actual I'm going to say more firm contract with CTS than we've had in the past. So that's why we're bringing it a little bit later here. There was some back and forth discussion with them about what needed to be done there. So the law department was very good help.
Okay. Questions, comments? Jan?
So this contract terminates at the end of the year,
Yes,
and
sir.
what's the extension? It'll
So,
be rebid the following year?
Yeah, actually, what we put in the cover memo is we're going to go out to bid next year
Okay.
for this. It's been since 2018 since we've done that for this.
Sure.
Correct.
And then what about, how much did we use them last year?
I apologize, Alderman. When I walked in here, I thought that's the number I needed to have. I'll
That's
make
what
sure I
John's
get
going to
that
ask,
you.
right?
Right. I can find that out.
Yeah, if we
And-
can find that out by cow, and then, I mean, the other
Yeah.
big question I have is, I mean, if we're gonna be using this sort of thing a lot, it might make sense to have somebody in our cable, I've been thinking about as we use all of this camera work and cabling and so forth, we have an electrician's department, it might be good to have somebody on staff if we use them enough, right, to warrant somebody being here year-round.
If we use them
for it.
enough, correct.
That's
That may make
the
sense.
main question I have.
Right, yeah, and I know, so I'll get numbers for you. This is specifically for like repairs and kind of one-off things.
Internal or external, you said?
There's most of the repairs we have lined up this year are going to be external kinds of repairs that I'm aware of at this point. Cabling that's outside kind of a thing that's just worn out. We have done in the past is done sort of the one-off. This department wants a new printer, they need new phones, new desk is set up, et cetera. So we bring the jacks in there for that location. Right, so they're
Okay, but that's internal work. I thought you had told Alderwoman Garza it'd be external, which.
No, outside is what I meant to say. External being outside a building.
Got it, okay.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Right, so, yeah, and when we, I can't speak to the other thing about staff. That's probably something we could talk among departments here if the number warrants it. Okay.
Sure, okay. I don't have any other questions on this
Okay.
contract, Madam Chair, thank
No
you.
questions, comments? Okay.
So moved?
Motion made by John Lash.
Second.
Second, Alderman Tolliver. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passed 4-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 24-0501, a resolution authorizing Aurora Sign Company to fabricate and install a new 4-side projection sign onto the City Hall facility for $121,825.65 with a 10% contingency of $12,182.56.
Good afternoon, Chairman Garza, Committee, Guadalupe Gonzalez, Superintendent of Facilities. I'm here to answer any questions on this resolution currently before you.
Okay. For how long Guadalupe didn't change the sign?
How long the
How
current? one?
long? How long we have this sign?
Oh,
Since
for
That I
a
remember.
very long time. Probably since we've taken over the building, and that was over 20 years.
yes, that's what I think. Questions, comments?
Sure, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this was in the budget, I remember it.
Correct.
How much did we budget? Is this right on target? Just because I don't remember the exact numbers.
It's actually right on target for what
Okay.
we had budgeted out for the total remodel of the front with the signage.
And then, what is it going to do? It's going to hang on the front of the building, and it's,
On the
what
very-
is
On the
four-sided
very
mean?
corner of the building,
Uh-huh.
right on Water Street and Broadway, so that, not Broadway.
Water and
Downers,
downer.
I'm sorry, yes,
Okay,
Water and
sure.
Downer. Right in the corner of Water and Downer, you'll be able to see it from 4 sides.
And is
equally.
it digital?
It is digital.
Okay.
What
Do we have a
nice.
mock-up of what it looks like? Just, I guess it really
There is
doesn't.
an attachment.
Is there?
Yes,
Okay.
and it has a full view of the sign from each angle.
Okay, sorry, I read the contract in it, and I guess that was my last question is, did we look at local? Because I see they're not from Aurora. Did we look at
They
local
are-
contractors? It was.
They are part of a co-op,
Okay.
and giving us the best price. If you have any co-op information, we can ask Jessica Price. She's more informed with that.
Okay.
Right.
No further questions, Madam Chair. Thank
Okay.
you.
No questions, no comments? No.
So
Is,
moved.
Motion approved by Alderman Lash,
Second.
second Alderman Tolliver. All in favor, say aye. Motion passed 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Next item.
Item 24-0508, a resolution to award the Keating Drive Water Main Improvement Project located in Ward 9 to Performance Construction and Engineering LLC in the bid amount of $647,770.
Good afternoon, Kurt Muth with Engineering Division. So several years ago, prior to the development of the southeast sector of town, generally in the area of Wolf's Crossing, Eola, and Route 30, which is now known as the Lincoln Prairie Del Webb development by Pulte Homes. We had a consultant model our water system in that area for the potential residential and commercial development that's coming. And they identified several locations that needed additional capacity in order to serve those commercial and residential properties. So when that development got approved and the agreement moved forward, as part of that development, those water main extensions were included in that development. So the cost of this project and another one we're working on coming up soon are going to be reimbursed by the developer. But the engineering division went through and did the design work, got the permitting done, put it out to bid, and will oversee construction. So all of our efforts, in addition to the cost of the project, will get reimbursed as well. So this project, although it's a little farther north than the site we're looking to serve, was identified as a critical location along Keating Drive. It's a challenging project with several petroleum and Nicor gas mains to cross and a railroad crossing. So there's been some difficult permits, but we're getting close, and put it out to bid, and Performance Construction Engineering was the lowest bidder, and we're confident they can get the work done. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments? Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So which developer is reimbursing us later? And is it for 100% or 90%? Okay.
The Pulte
Pulte?
development in Lincoln Prairie.
Okay. And then this is going to shut down traffic for a significant amount of time. Do we have any need? It's Keating. I mean, it's somewhat of a busier road. I'm just curious if we need to do anything special with rerouting traffic in that area, and or if it's going to happen during summer.
Haven't talked to the contractor yet to see what his time frame is. I think we had November as a completion deadline, so there's a little flexibility in there as far as if it's summer, fall time frame. I think we would probably, at a minimum, do a partial closure of the road. It shouldn't be a terribly long project. It's only about 1,000 feet of water main, other than the railroad crossing, that's gonna take a little time to bore and jack that. So we're probably looking at a couple weeks to do the work. And we'll meet with the contractor to see if he plans on having a flagger to try and keep traffic going, or if we set up a detour route instead.
Yeah, and also I'm thinking if school's gonna be in session, I don't know what path that,
We'll have to reach out to the school
Yeah,
district to see
to-
what sort of bus routes are.
see if it's gonna be shut down, it's
Mhm.
gonna close kids' paths to school. I guess overall, I mean, I think, first of all, I don't have any problems with it. I also wanted to say, I appreciate the multiple bids that you guys always get for water and sewer, and the fact that you put a map in there, it's pretty complete. Appreciate that, so.
Thank you.
And no further questions, Madam Chair.
Okay. No? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion adjourn. Motion adjourn. I'm sorry.
Second.
Motion to approve by Alderman Tolliver. Second, who? Second, John. Okay, John Lesh, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0. Thank you. Next item.
Item 24-0513, a resolution to award the contract for the Benton Street and Water Street intersection improvements to Landmark Contractors, Inc., 11,916 West Main Street, Huntley, Illinois, 60142, in the amount of $492,293.00.
So this intersection, Benton and Water, if you've ever crossed it as a pedestrian, you know traffic flies through there, especially if there's a green light at Benton and Broadway. So it can be a little harrowing to cross at times. We're looking to install some landscape curb islands similar to on Downer here across from City Hall, or on Stolp, or if you look at the Benton and Stolp intersection by the old library. All those locations have the newer style brick crosswalk, also similar to in front of the Paramount. So we're looking to do that brick crosswalk on the west leg and the north leg of the intersection. Those are the two heavier trafficked crossings, and with the budget we have available and the time frame we have available to do the work, we're trying to fit it in the window when the farmers market kind of dies down a little bit and before Luminera Festival begins. So we've got a limited 6 to 8 week window. We're trying to get this done, and in order to keep traffic and open as much as possible, we're going to do half the crosswalks as part of this project. There's a little bit of storm sewer work, streetlight relocation, some irrigation system installation to help maintain all the new plantings that we put in there. So there's quite a bit of different elements that are going to be involved with this. Be happy to answer any questions.
So they want to mark the west side, you say, right?
Yes.
To cross. So there going to be signs in there?
We're
Like a
also,
pedestrian sign with lights or something, or no?
I think we are going to possibly put one in the island, but we're going to also narrow up the crosswalks by installing curb islands kind of in line with the parking. And that right now it's over 50 foot to cross, and it's going to be closer to 35 feet when we're done. So it's going to be a lot shorter walk too, which will help keep traffic from flying through there. A lot of times the cars that are looking to make a right turn southbound on Broadway tend to fly through, and they're kind of blind when you've got traffic that it's going to go straight. So that will not be possible with the new curb island being bumped out. So with all the plantings and everything there, it's going to be more of a visual to get them to slow down.
Okay. So the parking spaces, the one is still in there, on Benton, because I believe it's parking spaces on both sides on Benton. So the one is still stay in there, still?
Yes.
Okay. Questions, comments? Yeah?
Thank you, Madam Chair. One thing, I don't know that this is the right location, but do you think in other parts, I know we talked about this on Broadway, but we're using some elevated crosswalks. I don't know that this is the right spot, but as a way to slow traffic down, because as we're building up more downtown, we're gonna have more parking spots, more people walking around, you know, moving traffic slower through our downtown areas. And I like what you're doing with the bump outs. I think that's good. I mean, we have them all over Ward 3 and they work. I'm just curious if we have any plans for that. And I have one more other question after that.
We did not explore a raised intersection or crosswalk at this location.
I don't think it's vital here. It seems more important, say, on Broadway, where we're going to have restaurants now pushing out and people walking and drinking. The other thought that I had was, just because we're digging it up, right? You had said we're doing half of the crosswalk?
We're not planning on touching the south or the east crosswalks in the intersection.
Okay, got it. And then if we're digging, do we need to improve the electric to get more? I know we've got 2 EV chargers on the other side of the street, but are we going to put any in this lot? Is that a consideration that needs to be talked about?
Currently, we have some conduit in there, mostly because we're relocating the street lights.
Okay.
Between the intersection west towards the river. There's 3 on each side that we'll be relocating. I'd have to talk to our electric department to see what conduit is there. And
I'm just curious if we have to, as big picture, as we're digging it up, if anything has to be done, that would be the time, right? I don't even know, I mean, I don't know how the conduit runs, and you're a water guy, so.
we are planning on putting some conduit underneath the crosswalk where we are excavating.
Okay.
And, so to put an extra pipe in there for future use would be a big deal in case it is needed.
Okay, I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
No more questions, no comments? Okay,
So moved.
okay, motion passed by Alderman Lesh,
Second.
second Alderman Tolliver. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0. Thank you. Now the last item.
Item 24-0515, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to execute an agreement with R.C. Wegman in an amount not to exceed $4,148,794 for construction management services and the first bid package for the River Edge Park Phase 2 expansion.
Good afternoon, Jason Bauer, Department of Public Works. Yet another contract for the River Edge Park expansion. The last time we were here, we were talking about the ratio contract. That was the architect to increase that amount for how the scope had grown. And at the time, I mentioned when we came through with the construction management contract that we would come and show you the renderings for what's actually going on at the park. So I do have a brief presentation for that. The architect had just this afternoon finished the last of the renderings. So that I'll be bringing that up in just a second. But just a little background on this contract. So we did do an RFQ to look for the construction management services. We got 2 submittals back, and the team selected R.C. Wegman. We just got that contract. That contract is loaded up here. And in addition to the construction management fees, we're also asking for authorization to allow the Director of Purchasing to execute the contract on the first bid package. And the reason we're breaking it up this way is with the Chris Kindle Market starting, our goal is to start construction as soon as the season at River Edge is done this fall and get some of the work started. Some of the buildings have about a 12-month, a little bit more than that lead time to build from start to finish. So if we get started right when the River Edge shows end this fall and we work basically year-round, we should be done with that before Chris Kindle Market starts. So they've been focusing on getting that building or that construction package ready to go. That work won't interfere with Chris Kindle Market this year. Some of the buildings that have a shorter lead time, we're looking to start basically as soon as we can after Chris Kindle Market is done this year. So well, I say this year, but it would be early 2025. And those have more of like an 8 to 9 month window of time for construction. So hopefully we have favorable conditions and we can start as soon as possible. I think they say their equipment or everything will be demobilized in, mid-January. That's about when everything is pulled out from Christkindl Market. And then we would be starting all the rest of those buildings. And those are the buildings that would affect the operations at Christkindl Market. And obviously with that bringing in 250,000 people, it's pretty critical. We think we can work potential River Edge shows around it by, maybe smaller acts or doing something a little different with some fencing at the park. But the critical path item is is to get Christkindl Market done, because that footprint can't vary. It takes up the entire park, and they're actually hoping that in the future it gets to a point where they can expand a little bit further. So if we're expecting to be out with that first bid package, which would be all of the underground and things of that nature for the backstage area, and we can be working on that along with the Christkindl Market. And if we start that, as soon as the bids come in, if we can get the director of purchasing to start executing those contracts, then we won't affect, we can keep basically on time, because we won't be opening those until maybe just a week or two before we would actually want to get started. Again, as soon as the last event at River Edge is done this fall. So with that, I can go through the slide deck, if that's all right, unless anybody had any questions before that. But if you'd like to see the slide deck first, leave that up to you, Madam Chairwoman.
Do you care if we interrupt during, while
Yeah,
you're
no,
on the
that's
slide?
totally
just
fine,
thanks.
100%. Yeah, whenever anything pops up, feel free. So, went over a little bit of the background, but just if there's anything I missed here, we've talked about it before. We've got the new backstage structure. That's going to be the office space, dressing rooms, restrooms, dining areas, for concessions for all the tours that come in. Brand new southern entry to get things a little bit more organized for hopefully less tents at the entries and things like that. And a new beverage pavilion and a seating area on top of that, and a new restroom facility, so that hopefully when it's all said and done and everything is working right, we won't need to bring in the portable facilities. So here's the entirety of the park. Down at the bottom of the picture there, you see that letter C. That's basically the new entry gate. So what it's going to do is allow for consolidation of the people that are coming across the river on the bridge that have parked and already gone through security on the west side. They'll have a streamlined way to get right into the park. And then people entering from the intersection there at Broadway and then from the path to the south will be able to go through security there. And then if you move a little further north of the C there, up basically in the middle of the screen, there's a longer building. That's the new restroom facility. And just to the side of that, you can see a horseshoe-shaped feature that's got a screen on top of it. That's the new beverage pavilion. And I have zoomed in photos of all these too. And then up at the very top, you can see our CSO building. That's the L-shaped building in the back with the new backstage facility in front of it. And just in front of that is the existing stage. Just another view, this basically straight from the west of all the same amenities. And so this is the new backstage building. So the entire first floor is, there's some storage, concessions, green rooms, security, IT needs, things like that. And then up above is basically the artist area. There's restrooms in there, not just restrooms for the dressing rooms, but also for the staff that travel with the acts. There's laundry facilities. That's one of the things that they say that they desperately need wherever they are. There's never enough washers and dryers to take care of everything when they're done with a show. And then just an outdoor patio area that would overlook the river. So again, on the first floor, you can see we've got storage, office space for the production teams, lots of storage, a nice dining area. Right now, they have a haul-away trailer that can fit maybe 10 people in it at a time, so everybody's eating in shifts. There's a meet and greet area, the security room, and plenty of room for the mechanicals and for IT needs. There is an elevator to get up to the second floor, so the entire building is ADA accessible, and then the stairwells that would take other people up as well. And then you can see on the top, basically on the entire bottom there is all the different dressing rooms. Some of them have dividers so that it can be opened up depending on the size of the acts or whatever shows might be there. Plenty of restroom space. And then there's another green room, kind of a, sit and wait your turn if you're not the first act or if you're done with your act and you need somewhere to go. And then that opens up out to the roof terrace that overlooks the river. And this is the rendering that they've done. So this is basically coming right off of the bridge. So this is when you get off the Ped Bridge, This lady here is walking off the ped bridge. These would be people that have already checked in. This would also be the functional area when the park is not closed down. That would serve as the bike path. And then just another view, this is the view from Broadway. So this is again the new Gate 4 entry. You can see the will call booth there for people that are either purchasing tickets or have to pick up tickets. And then the restroom facility, we didn't do a full rendering on because it's just the restroom facility. There's nothing too special to show about that one. And then this is the upper deck of the beverage pavilion. So there'd be tiered seating. So this is basically, if you've all been to River Edge, right now there's the mound in the middle of the park. This basically, where the mound would start to go down, we're going to flatten it out and build it up a little bit so that you can access the top deck behind the beverage pavilion. So there would be a separate bar up here. There would be an area for someone to store concessions in case we rented this out as a VIP area, anything like that. There's restrooms up here as well. And then this is the view on the back side of that. So those are all service windows down at the bottom. And we're going to put our, we already purchased this Jumbotron with the original Jumbotron package. So we've got that, it's in storage and it's here. And so we would put that up in that area. And along with all of this, there's significant improvements for additional walking areas, areas to park, more food trucks, expanding it so that it's wide enough and serviceable for bringing Chris Kindle Market further south into the park. And I went over the schedule already, looking to start the backstage building this fall as soon as we're done, and hopefully get the permitting completed with everything else so that we can bid that and be ready to construct as soon as Chris Kindle is done. And then hopefully everything will be all done, weather pending, before Chris Kindle Market starts next year. And that is what I've got. So again, more than happy to answer any questions.
So beautiful. I'm very happy because they want to do more bedrooms area.
Yeah, one of the biggest complaints.
Big lines,
The two big
big lines
complaints
all the
is
time.
sometimes
Especially
the lines
winter
are
time. Oh, no.
long
It'll be
lines
nice.
for getting a drink and long lines for restrooms. And there's a lot of patrons
be
that don't want
nice.
to use a porta potty, and then you're forced to stand in a line and wait, and while that's happening,
I
you're
know.
missing 2 or 3 songs. So
Yes.
definitely important. And all of that, we sized all that, with the architect and the number of patrons that come, and making sure that we sized it right so that, fingers crossed, we don't have to put out porta potties. Certainly, we wouldn't have to put out anywhere near the amount that we do now.
Great. Yes? Yes? Jan? Okay.
One of the major concerns that the public has, and we probably should have brought this more forward, but what about, it looks like the bike path is still going to have to get closed down during concerts. Is there any way to redesign this to allow them to come through or provide, because it looks like the tickets are now sold only at the River Edge side of the park. We're not going to put the temporary booth at the other end, or are
That
we
booth would still be there, yeah. The booth on
Okay.
the west side would still be there so that those people could free flow into the park without standing in the lines for people that are waiting on the east side or looking
Sure.
at the will call deck, yeah.
Okay. How many phases? I see we're phase 1, but what % of the project is this?
This is probably the first 20%-ish, somewhere in that range.
So we're looking at $20 million.
The
20 plus.
estimate right now for the facility and all of the accommodating site work is 16. The original estimate was 10. Again, that was an estimate from about 2017,
Sure.
and every single one of these buildings grew significantly. But
So we're
that's
looking at
about
20.
where-
So,
it's more like, it's like 16, because of the 4 million today, 2 of it is the RC Wegman. So I guess we're probably more like 25 to 30%, because this is the entirety of the construction management contract. As far as construction goes, it's only about 20%. That's that $2 million bid package number 1 that we're looking for pre-approval for, so we can award that as soon as it's bid. And then the remaining.
but we're
the
also
remainder-
approving RC Wegman be the overall.
Correct. That's what this
Yes.
agenda item is for their contract, yeah, for their GC and the allotment for the first bid package.
Okay. And then I understand, but it covers the GC throughout the entire
throughout the
term.
entire project, correct.
Is that a percent of the, I got about a third through the contract, I didn't read the whole thing.
So they break it back down into percentages, but they put a level of effort to that, and then they just back that out so that we have that percentage on hand just to see it and make sure it's in line with where it should be. But yeah, it varies on every project. You take the public works site, a much more expensive site, but not as many intertwining pieces. So this one's gonna have a lot more personnel involved with it. So percentage-wise, it's a little higher than, say, a contract like that. But
Okay.
that's all included in that.
And then
number.
they're also tasked with making sure that we're using the correct number of percent of minority contractors on this. And I don't know if we're getting state or federal assistance with this project yet or not. Sometimes that comes at the other end, but.
Yeah, currently there is there's no outside funding that would require a specific target for the disadvantaged businesses. By having worked with RC Wegman before, I know that they do try, but again, everything they're gonna do right now until the city ordinance is passed that states how we take that into account, and we're working on that right now. Until that happens, it's still just by the Illinois state statutes, which is competitive sealed bids. But we are looking to try and find ways to incentivize those businesses to bid, much like we did with the local vendor ordinance, where we allow price matching up to a certain point. We're looking to try and do something similar like that, and we've been working diligently on that for a number of years. We started that process pre-COVID when we selected that consultant to help us through that, got their report back, and now we're at the point where we've been working with legal and Michelle Williams to finalize.
That's for the disparity study, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And that's what's driving how we're trying to gear that ordinance.
Got it. And then just for this, so we're moving away from food trucks. We're going to have some, this might not be your field. I know you're like, how do we get the thing built and get the contracting right? But how many vendor spaces are going to be in there? And do we have any idea how that's going to be handled to make sure that we're, again, making sure that there's representation from the community to what kind of food vendors are in there?
Sure.
Or is it going to be more mobile where, depending on the entertainment that's coming in, there might be a more appropriate food product?
And I guess just to talk about, the only thing we're doing different now from a service standpoint is the beverage pavilion is just that. It's going to be 18 or 20 service windows. That's just for distribution of water, beer, wine, pop, things like that. That's the only purpose of this facility right here. There is still ample room for food trucks. That's part of the site improvements that we were talking about. We're going to try and, in addition to expanding it to be able to get more Chris Kindle Market booths in, it's going to allow for more food truck opportunities. So the food truck component will still be very much in play when this is done.
Okay.
And the original concession stand will still be functioning as it does now.
I was just going to ask about that.
Yep, that'll
Okay.
still be functioning the same.
I think that's it for now. Let someone else have a bite at it.
Gotta love pictures.
I know you do.
Well,
I've been promising them forever. Now we finally got them.
Yeah. Bob Alderman, former Alderman at large and acting mayor Bob O'Connor. He loved the pictures, and you got to appreciate his fondness for him as well. So what happens? I mean, how do we prorate what we get for? I should say this. So this is the first bid package. The next the remainder bid package are going to be coming in one after another, right? We're not
Yes.
going to stall the project.
No, correct.
Okay, so this $2 million construction management fee is based on the overall project budget. So this is just to get us going for the winter, but we're also going to be keep moving with our architect and the bidding process with RC Wegman to finish the project up.
100%.
Right? Okay, and what's the overall time frame? Can you remind us on that one? right now?
Again, we're hoping with everything working with permitting, we've got some permitting issues with IDNR, just with the river being so close. We've got permitting with city staff, so hopefully they're kind to us and they move us along quickly.
All right.
But the game plan would be, while we get this bid package ready to go and that it's out in August, the architect is still going to be working nonstop to get the remainder of the buildings ready to go and bid out, to hopefully be able to do that later in the fall, if not early winter timeframe. And basically, the goal right now, again, unless we have a really, really bad winter, is to have everything done for Kindle Market and open and usable for Kindle Market. If for some reason there's some interior things that can't be done that wouldn't be detrimental to their operations, but we would, focus on making sure that everything is, on the outside is wrapped up so that we can get the Kindle Market open, because we cannot be there when they are. It's just too much going on, and we need too much of a footprint, with fencing off for lay down of materials and things like that. There's just too much, so that's the goal. We can work around it with small River Edge concerts, but we can't with the Kindle Market because they need the whole footprint.
All right, okay. There's some Sox fans that might not be happy with that canopy, that C-shaped canopy. I think it's a Cubs.
I could ask him to
As
try
long
and
as you
make an
don't-
S. I don't know.
You don't make it a blue and red, you don't paint it and outline it.
You could paint it orange, then it's the Bears, then it's everybody.
Right, but I just wanted to just ask, sometimes our designers do it just for, just for shins and grins. I saw Paul Stanley Pavilion written on one of the buildings there. Is there a significance to that?
Oh, I
or
think
no?
they're just having fun with it.
Okay, that's what I
They
thought.
put
yeah.
they put little Easter eggs in there for everybody to find. I'm sure some of these people have faces of somebody on their staff. I don't know. they
Right,
put all those things in the renderings.
I would make a recommendation maybe next, I'd love to see this presentation go to COW, Madam Chair, and then when it does, maybe a pointer or add some more.
Sure. I don't know. Is there one on here? I don't even know.
That maybe even for people from home may be able to follow.
Sure.
A little bit
sure
difficult
IT
for me
can
to
cover
follow
us.
your descriptions too, so, because I get stuck on one topic and then you keep moving. By the time I come up, I'm like, you're moving, so.
Tell me to slow down.
No, that's all right. So, all right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Yes?
Just sort of to follow up, I assume because you had a PowerPoint, you would be bringing it to,
Yes.
after we paid for
Yes.
the pretty pictures, we get to see them.
Right.
But following up on that, and I can send an email to staff, but I do think something about the overall seating. And one other question that comes to mind that when this was last discussed, when we were talking about bringing ratio in, but I think that presentation so the public gets an idea of what we're doing, how much we're improving it, why, and also, as we justify spending this money for the project. But also I'm thinking the timeline for the whole project. We're gonna be out for a year. Is that going to impact concerts next year at River Edge? I would think it probably is.
Yeah. So we're trying to figure that out with programming, how that works. If there's ways we can shut down just the back half where we're going to be. The most of the work is in the back half, so it's possible that we can still do smaller acts. Anything that's pushing it to capacity right now certainly wouldn't work. So there will be a leaner year, most definitely next year.
And then the other question I had was, have we, this again is for someone outside of your scope of work, I'm guessing, but it should be asked at Cal, is have we reached out to entertainers, we've heard that larger entertainers won't come because we don't have these facilities, but have we gotten some sort of guarantee that if we build it, they will come? I guess that's, and I know that falls outside of your scope.
Yeah, I
but
could touch on it very briefly.
Sure.
As a part of the development, specifically of the backstage area, we did reach out to tour managers and have those discussions. Jim Jarvis with ACA, he knows a lot of people in the industry, and he reached out specifically and even showed them the preliminary floor plans, and we got changes and things like that, and that's where a lot of those things came up that said, that's great, but, where's the laundry room? We're washing towels all the time. Like, we need stuff like that. And a lot of them looked at it and they said, wow, that's great. There's manager offices and things like that. So they did go through that process with the floor plans, and that was an iterative process to get it to where it is now.
It probably wouldn't hurt to have someone from ACA here
Yeah.
on Tuesday's meeting.
Wow, I'm sure they would love
And
to.
is that backstage pass patio gonna have a bar?
Yes.
I would assume that it
Yeah.
would.
Yeah, the top area has a bar, and it's got an area where they can store their concessions, and it's got restrooms. So
Or weed.
yeah, so very important. Things that they learned with the first sky deck area.
Okay, thanks. Good presentation. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, is that motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved
Oh.
by,
One quick other question. Sorry, I saw this on here. All the logos on the very first page of the contract, what is the ABC? Is that ABC Contractors?
I don't have it on me.
You know what,
right
I'll send
now.
it and ask
Yeah,
it at Cal.
it's probably ABC Roofing, I would assume.
Got it, okay. No further questions. Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion approved by Alderman John Lash, second Alderman Tolliver. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed, 4-0. Thank you very much. No other item in the agenda? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by John Lash,
Second.
second Alderman Tolliver. Adjourn the meeting at 4. Yeah, motion adjourned already. Okay.
All in favor?
Everybody agree? Yes, okay.
Aye.
Motion approved to adjourn the meeting at 4:42 PM.